The time has come to stand your ground and fight. You can soldier with the wrong or take side with the right. Greetings, salutations, talofa. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos noches.
Bienvenidos a los Estados Unidos.
Hey, you stepped up your Spanish game.
Sounded like the airport for a minute, didn't it?
Kind of. A little bit. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Doormen. We are your Doormen. My name is Evangelist.
Steven in the building.
All right. Before we get started, we just have to acknowledge this is two. I don't know. So
You told me to be quiet, and your chair is squeaking like I can't even understand.
All right, no squeaking, okay? All right, no squeaking. Well, again, this is episode
Second
number
episode
2, where
of the new format.
We are continuing to what's the word? Step up our game. The
Bettering
quality.
ourselves.
We are dealing with a professional.
Yes.
In the production.
Executive producer.
In the production field. Huh?
Intern level.
The Doorman has taken on a Sunny effect.
Yes. Oh.
It's a Sunny effect.
Play on words.
Right? So shout out to our executive producer. We hope you're seeing.
Got a lot of compliments on the new format.
Yeah.
And almost twice as many views as our last 10 episodes combined. So something is working.
I don't know if you've noticed, but we've got a couple more subscribers as well.
Yes, I get a notification every single time.
Yeah. So kudos.
Thank you for your subscriptions.
Thank you for your subscriptions. Guys, again, what we're about is we value this thought process. So you're going to hear this thought process working itself out via conversation.
It might offend you, but if it does, grow up.
Grow a pair.
Yeah.
And women, I don't know, develop a little bit of...
Get some balls.
Develop a little bit of callus.
Balls.
Okay, balls. Anyway, so much to dive into today, right? I mean, we've seen it via social media. We've seen it... I guess you've seen it somewhat covered by mainstream media. What's been going on?
Somewhat. It's everywhere you turn.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to downplay it a little bit. We're not trying to.
Not sure you can downplay a holy war, my friend.
It's a holy war.
Seems like it.
Yeah. I mean, what's going on? I mean, I'm sure you all know there's conflict in Israel again. Where
yes.
They are bombing the Gaza Strip because of what happened last weekend. Terrible things have happened. Anyway, so the most disturbing part is not so much what's going on in the Middle East. I think what's more disturbing is the reaction that we're seeing globally. Right? Globally, right. There's a reaction to this conflict, and I would say that what's taking place is you have this this cultural underdog respect or underdog effect, right. Where people deem Hamas and the Palestinian people as this underdog, and this whether it be the fringe societal groups, right. Or whether it be people who are just anti winner. I hate to use the word winner as you know what I mean, where Israel and colonial.
Well, I think it's more the fact that it's people don't know the whole story,
right?
So they pick a side based on what their favorite celebrity may have said,
sure,
or what their favorite sports player said, or what they saw on TikTok.
Yeah.
And they don't know the whole story.
I believe it's the latter. I believe it's a TikTok It's social media influencing the
Yeah.
masses, influencing the sheep.
But it's also too like, again, people don't know the whole story, but what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, right?
Okay.
And killing children and elderly and women is a chicken shit maneuver.
Yeah.
And whatever you're doing it, whatever name of you're doing it, it's wrong. And whatever your the book you may follow, whatever it says doesn't make it gospel.
Well, so at one point, right? At one point, society came to a place where war was conducted by men and gentlemen at that, right?
Right.
If you look at some of the earlier, like the Revolutionary War, or if you look at the even the Civil War, was conducted with lines of men facing each other, shooting at one another.
Right.
Right. And there was this just open field warfare, right, where one side was able to see the participants of the other side, and then war was conducted in that way. Or if you watch some of these movies, and I don't know how accurate a lot of these movies are about ancient warfare, you had men leaving the residential areas of their countries.
Right.
They'd move out to the countryside, and then they would confront each other out there in open field. Right?
Battle of Falkirk.
Right. So
Scotland.
you'd be able to see,
Or England.
you'd be able to see one side versus the other. Combatants were able to see their enemies were. There
Right.
was, no real hiding. It was just out in the open. We're going
And
at
even
it.
more, though, they used to, when it was time to go, they're sprinting at each other
Right.
with swords.
And axes, like Vikings. But,
Yes.
But then there came a point where guerrilla warfare was a tactic, right?
Right.
Guerrilla warfare. Still, you understood who the combatants were. You understood that there were other men
Right.
on the other side of that line that
But
was
you
drawn.
couldn't see them.
Yeah, but you couldn't see them, right?
Right.
And these guys would. You knew you were at war,
Right.
right? You knew you were at war. There was an army. You didn't know exactly where they were coming from. In the Vietnam War, a lot of those guerrilla tactics were used. Prior to the Vietnam War, you had whoever wrote the what was the it was a famous book, Sun Tzu,
Sun Tzu.
The Art of War. Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War. And,
Oh, as Paulie Walnuts would call him, Tsung Tzu.
Anyway, they explained, the beauty in a war of guerrilla warfare, right?
Right.
But either way, from one point to the next, you understood these were the combatants,
Right.
And raping and pillaging, I guess that was done. I'm pretty sure that was done in a much more savage way. But as society developed, as society matured, there was supposed to be a kind of exodus from that.
If your
that
enemy
type
does
of
not
behavior.
respond, agitate him.
That's Sun Tzu.
From Tsung Tzu, yeah.
Sun Tzu.
Paulie Walnuts.
But I guess in this latest conflict, it started off with some very, as Stephen put it, chicken shit tactics.
Right.
Where these guys went and attacked not an army.
No.
They went attacked civilians.
Civilians.
They
Right.
attacked civilians. They beheaded babies. They kidnapped the elderly, caged them, kidnapped young adults,
Women.
who were out at a concert, rave, celebration. They did it. I mean, it was absolutely just foul,
Right.
on their part, right? But then the more disturbing thing is, again, not what happened there, but what happened in on what you've seen on the news, right? These people praising Hamas for what they did,
Right.
Siding with, we understand you're going to side with the Palestinian people, right? You don't want a people to suffer because of something that combatants
Right.
are wanting to do. What you want is you want combatants versus combatants, and let it go. All is fair in love and war.
Right.
Let's ride. But when these BLM activists, when all of these left wing anarchists, around the world,
fraudulent groups
around
who stand on
praise what
fraudulent
Hamas
belief.
did,
Right.
justifying what they did.
Right.
That's absolute. It's great. It's bananas.
Which is it's terror respecting terror, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. I mean, BLM, I think we all can safely say now,
Fraudulent.
Was a flash in the pan.
An absolutely fraudulent
something
movement.
to, again, agitate people.
Agitate and then rob.
Right.
Right? Because anybody who contributed to that movement, you were robbed.
Right.
You had these leaders of some of these groups going out and buying personal homes. Not homes where they were going to house the entire BLM army.
Right.
Or
for themselves.
Right. It was for themselves. It was
right.
It was theft.
Yeah.
Right.
It was what is it? Defrauding by
embezzlement,
charity fraud, whatever.
Charity fraud.
Essentially, what it was, because we all know now that movement stood for absolutely nothing but personal gain for those in charge of that movement.
Absolutely.
And these are the ones saying they stand with Palestine. Right. So what does that tell you as an organization that was created in America, created by Americans, who supposedly hate what America stands for or stood for, and now they're backing essentially another terrorist group.
Right. I mean, so there's a lot to unpack here. So that's the current conflict going on. Started off with exactly as we explained. I'm sure there's a lot more to be added into there, but we kind of like briefly gave you the fundamentals of it.
Right.
And then you have this current reaction. So what there is to break down is this. It's a reaction based in fear.
Fear.
Right? This reaction that's based in fear is being expressed on multiple levels.
Right.
Right? Of course, the job of a terrorist group is to somehow conjure fear. Mm-hmm. It's to stir fear up in its opposition. And in this case, Hamas, their creation back in the late 80s was solely to destroy Israel.
Right.
There's a conflict that's been going on there since probably the 1940s when Israel first began to take shape. Palestinians claim that this was land that belonged to them at one point. Israel came in and developed it. They claimed it, developed it, and they've created a successful country of it. Where at one point, people claim, including Netanyahu, claimed that the previous residents there, the Palestinian people, did nothing with it. Now, we're Americans. We're Americans. Our country sort of began from this revolution, departing from this monarchy, and we in turn created something within the last 250 years that has been an absolute success.
Left a tyrannical government to create our own independent.
Right. And now, I'm not saying that all the tactics that we used were up to par. I'm not saying that anything that we've...
Right.
But
we are not an example of exemplar history.
Right.
But the outcome and the
absolute success.
The result of what we did is where we are now.
Right.
And I can safely say that there are rules and regulations in the United States military that prevent things like what happened last Saturday and happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then you have Israel, who took what they were given or what they claimed and conquered in 1948, and they too created this absolutely successful outcome. Mm-hmm. So, I think we have to. I think we have to understand where it came from, where it currently is, right? And because of so many different factors, the U.S. and Israel are absolute allies. They are one of our greatest allies.
Right.
And, having some time, I always tell a story of being able to play in the streets, on people say, oh, it was a gangbang culture, but, I call it my time on the streets. What I came to understand from that time on the streets was that you chose a group, and regardless of what that group did, that's where you stood. And then so you had allegiances from other groups, other similar groups with similar cultures, and then you stood with these groups regardless. So from that culture, I was able to learn a little bit of loyalty. There was a loyalty was an absolute huge factor in how we functioned. Here we are with two countries who are loyal to each other, right? Israel and the U.S. Israel, as soon as they let it be known what had happened, and of course everyone already knew via social media what had happened, our loyalty jumped into play. We've got, carriers out there in their region now, close to them.
Off the coast of the Gaza Strip.
Right. So because of all of these powerful factors that move into play, what these smaller groups looked to implement was this fearful reaction. And that's pretty much what we have been seeing. Today, as a matter of fact, you brought to my attention, as well as a cousin of mine brought to my attention. Today was supposed to be some global
global call down for all Muslims
jihadists,
worldwide to make this a day of jihad, which I don't know. I mean, it's a little concerning. I spoke to you about certain things, certain fears that Shelby had, but talking about it and thinking about the city of Buena Park probably wasn't at the greatest risk. So we decided not
You don't
not
think
to
they
let.
could have attacked Knott's Berry Farm?
No.
No.
Even on their most packed day, they'd probably only drop about 500 people. So, but the other thing is like fear is not going to win, right? You're not going to disrupt my day or my plans because of something that may or may not happen. Any day of the week, it might happen. Just because they announced it, that they were going to make it that day, today being Friday the 13th also,
The day Friday the 13th kind of it kind of ignites fear.
It does.
Stirs
it
up.
does. Yeah. People have, what do you call those? What's the word I'm looking for?
Bad feelings?
Oddities that they say happen on every Friday the 13th. People are scared. They don't go out.
Most people don't even know the origins of that day, the Friday the 13th.
All I know about Friday the 13th is that
Jason Voorhees.
No. Tim Shelton at Still Life Tattoo does flash tattoo Fridays on Friday the 13th.
Go get your tattoos done.
I have 1, 2, 3 of them. Flash tattoos.
Sheltoon
at gmail.com. Shameless plug. But anyway.
Yeah, but
I think the fear tactic, they know all they have to do is say it could happen. And there's probably a lot of people that put their plans and their day on hold just in case.
Yeah.
Which is...
A lot of people react.
Right. It's not the worst thing. I mean, because if something did happen and you were prepared, then you look like the genius.
Right. But if your fear leads you to acting foolish...
Sure.
Then,
Well, acting foolish or not living your life.
Yeah, right? Because, again, doing things based on fears living a life of fear is such a crippling, it has such a crippling effect.
Right.
Right? I think, I'm not sure, I can't tell you what the divine placed us here on earth for, as far as how it is we're supposed to be outside of we're to make the best of this existence.
Well, I often think too, like, what if you or I or our producer is meant to, travel a certain path that we maybe didn't take because of fear, whether it's fear of rejection, failure, or just plain being scared. Not saying you two gentlemen are scared in any way. You don't look very timid. But I'm just saying, like, how do I know that I wasn't supposed to be in the record books in baseball?
I think you can only assess where you're currently.
Right. That's what I'm just saying. I always think about the fact that what if I went to that extra year of baseball? What if I never played football in high school and only played baseball?
What if you made it into the military?
Yeah, I think about that. Like,
Yeah.
what would I be? A cross-dressing general for Biden right now? I don't think so. But I don't know where I'd be. I mean, 5-star? Sure. No doubt.
I often tell stories about my early childhood programming. So because we were born and raised in the church, basically, my mother, she instilled certain principles within us, right? One of these principles was that worry and fear had no place in our home. And the idea was that God created us, has a plan for us, and continues to guide and protect us.
Sure.
And if we place all of our faith in God, that whatever happens was allowed by Him.
Right.
So for us to worry, it means we are questioning the power
Sure.
of our Creator. So whenever we came to Mom with these situations that we could potentially worry about, which happened only in elementary school because she had already exercised these fears out of us before we were 10. Right. And then from that point on, it was just, it was against our home culture to be fearful.
Right.
So after, I would say pretty much in my teen years on for the rest of life until even to this day, fear is just not a part of life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we understand that things happen, but whatever it is that happens, in my mind, because of my faith in my God, it's been allowed by Him. So we're there to do one of two things. We are grateful for the victory, or grateful for the benchmark that we're reaching, or we are learning something
Right.
in this moment of chaos or moment of potential terror.
Right.
Right.
But my mom was a little different. My mom was really, really shy when she was younger.
Okay.
So when she had me, her goal was, at the very least, she did not want me to be shy.
Oh, she won.
She succeeded.
She absolutely succeeded.
I have no shame.
Yeah.
And I remember it was my grandma's birthday at El Ranchito in Long Beach. And there was, the mariachis were going around, and they were singing La Bamba. And I remember thinking, I don't know, I was maybe 6 or 7, maybe younger, I don't know. But I remember getting up and singing with them in this restaurant full of people. Everybody was like, "Oh my God!"
I could totally imagine you.
And I just remember being that little and thinking, I'm never going to see anybody here again.
Off tune.
Yeah. 6 years old.
Belting out La Bamba.
Mm-hmm. The movie version, not the real version. So when they started going off on the extended real version, I was like, "What the fuck are you guys?"
You're singing it.
I don't know this part.
You're singing it all wrong.
I don't know this part. But I just remember thinking, like, what's the worst that could happen, right? It's like, it's something as small as karaoke that, you and I do.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see those people again.
Nah.
And even if we do,
I'm 5 beers in.
They were way too drunk anyway to remember us.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was, as a child, I was totally scared. Like I said, when I said my mom exercised these things out of me,
Mm-hmm.
by the time I was probably about 10, maybe even a little older, 11, maybe 12. Prior to that, I was telling Sonny that my mom took me to a donut shop. This is one of the stories that run vivid in my head. Took me to a donut shop. I was so scared to approach anyone and talk. She told me to go and get a donut from the donut shop. And I remember getting out of the car because I didn't want to get my ass whooped.
Right.
And then I went and stood at the door of the donut shop, and I just froze there because I didn't want to go in and ask for a donut, to buy a donut, and I didn't want to go back into the car and get my ass whooped. So that's how shy I was as a kid.
It was a super internal struggle for you because your inner fat kid was like, I want that donut.
Yeah.
Give me that pastry.
Yeah. It was all kinds of struggle.
You're like, I don't want to get beat up. I don't want to ask for a donut.
But I want it.
But I want that donut.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it was just like a beacon, just a light over the one donut.
So Mom, I mean, she really, there was a fight. There was a straight battle on her part to really instill this no fear in me. And eventually it happened.
Right.
But it was a straight uphill climb.
Right.
Can't lie. Hey, shout out to Mom. Thank you so much for all that you do. You've done great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I apologize all the time. Evangelist, this is the extent of my evangelism. So, once again, sorry, Mom.
There's I think a thinking in my family that, Stephen will do it. Whether it be a eulogy at a funeral, a speech at a wedding.
Right.
Anything. Because I do not give a shit what people think. I don't care. What are they going to say in my family?
Obviously
you shouldn't have said that? Okay.
Obviously not. You'll be in a room full of people on your phone.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't give a shit.
Nope. Because
everyone's talking. Everyone's having a conversation. Steven's like,
and I'm still engaged in the conversation.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. That's what you call engagement.
Answering your questions. You know how I know that
you're 5 years old, bro.
You know how I know that I can multitask? My brain.
You remind me of my granddaughter.
My brain is several stages in front of yours. I can remember shit.
It's because you have a warped head.
Well,
this is a perfectly round head.
Yeah, if square is a shape, that's a round head.
This is absolutely. Hey, you know what? For some people,
no, you're right.
God blessed me with just a beautifully round head. Thank you, Lord. We appreciate you. Anyway,
if you bend over to tie your shoes, we can put a book on the back of your head. So, yeah, it's round.
Anyway, let's get back into this.
Let's get serious.
We gotta get serious.
Yes.
From this point forward, okay? Because our producers over here just
he's laughing at my jokes.
Was that I didn't hear any laughter.
He literally was laughing when I called you a blockhead.
Well, he didn't.
It was.
I know his laugh.
I told him my goal is to make him laugh out loud.
I know his laugh.
Really hard not to.
Yeah. I know his laugh.
I said,
sounds.
If square is round, then yes, you have a round head. Look at him right now. He's doing it.
Beautifully round head. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Lord.
Should talk to me about those ears, though.
Hey, you know what? You can't be totally perfect. These ears are definitely something.
Serious wind drag.
I can hear.
A mouse very well on cotton. That's how big your ears are.
Let's get back in. Let's get a little more serious.
Here, what am I thinking?
Because I fear that all of the great things that we have to say are being laughed away right now.
Maybe they need a break from all the seriousness with some laughter.
Yeah, that's you could be right. But is that the answer to fear? Distraction?
Laugh it away.
Laugh it away.
Laugh in the face of fear.
I don't know. I would say that's a great approach to war, right? But if you're at home and you're just thinking about not being terrorized because some jihadist, made some global claim that they're going to be causing ruckus, I don't know.
Well, think about that.
Okay.
If you're at home scared that some jihadist is going to blow up your apartment building,
okay, why you laugh it away?
Why wouldn't you laugh that off? Okay.
And then what?
Just to be like, why the fuck would you want to blow up this dump?
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. Good.
See?
Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
I think laughter is probably the key to most struggle.
If that's the case, though, just to roll with you, if that's the case, why are some of the most disturbed, suicidal people comedians?
Because they're not laughing. People are laughing at them or with them. They're not the ones laughing.
But these are the guys who
create laughter for others.
And try to.
If I'm thinking about jumping off a bridge and I hear a funny joke, it's not the comedian. I interpret it as funny, right?
Sure.
Maybe the comedian's joke was something terrible.
Why are comedians whose job it is to make people laugh? Why are they the most?
Because they're not laughing.
Mentally disturbed people.
They're not the ones laughing.
I mean, if laughter is such a great thing, and these people are producing the laughter, why are they?
They're not laughing. Nobody's making them laugh.
Why are they not somehow benefiting from their?
Because maybe giving the joy of laughter is not the cure. Laughter itself is the cure.
Laughter itself is the cure. Good point.
So maybe if Robin Williams would laugh at somebody.
Good point. Hey, good point.
Maybe if Robin Williams was laughing at somebody, maybe he wouldn't have done what he did.
And I didn't see him laugh too often. Even while telling jokes, he was never one to laugh. So
right,
you could be right. Could absolutely be right. So laughter is the medicine for fear.
I think so.
Could be.
I mean, even in the name, Hamas.
Mas. I get it. Hey, but check this out. There are so many different like motivations, right, for actions.
Right.
So you got fear, you've got frustration, you've got anger, you got hatred, right? These are probably the most relevant, pronounced reactions that we see via this social media, right? And they take shape and they take so many shapes. They take so many forms, right? You have these people who are, another way that it expresses itself online is that you have these. I seen this one thing on Reddit. You ever seen "Am I Ugly"? You ever seen that little page on Reddit? It's these people who posts pictures of themselves and they say, "Well, am I ugly?" Right? And then so why would people do something like that?
Well, I think they do something like that in order for somebody to be like,
to validate them.
Not that it's a false answer or just trying to like appease the person. They want somebody to say, "You're not ugly. You're beautiful."
Right.
When in all honesty, if we're all being honest, and somebody comes up and looks like they've been beat with a bag of pennies, nobody in their right mind is going to say you're beautiful. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's absolute bullshit.
Right. But I wanted to go to the motivation of those of that post, right? Because you could put any of those motivations onto that person who's placed their picture. You can definitely include fear as a motivation in there, because that person is fearful that this being one of the most important attributes that they have, their look.
Right.
The fear could lie in the idea that, hey, I'm not worth looking at. I'm not worth complimenting. Right.
Right.
So they're testing that fear. There's also maybe a self-loathing, right? There is kind of like what's the word? A hatred for themselves. So they put themselves out in hopes that they receive criticism,
right?
Crazy critique,
validate their fears, and then use that as a reason that were bullied or harassed,
or they can use that as a reason to take that next step, and potentially,
right,
ending things, right? I mean, there's all of these, fear itself. It takes shape in so many ways. It expresses itself in so many ways, and the idea that, social media, the social media culture and the social media era, it embodies fear,
right,
and it uses so many different masks for people to, put that motivation out there.
Right.
Right.
So when somebody voluntarily puts their photo on a site or something that says "Am I ugly?" Like, you should know full well you're opening yourself up to people who are liars, people who are there to just justify or validate your feelings, mean people, rude people. Everybody under the sun, you're going to get every single reaction. But you as that person are going to pull the reactions that you want based on whatever emotion you're feeling to validate your feelings at that point. If you're feeling ugly and somebody goes, "Oh, you're gorgeous," you're going to pull that out and focus on that one.
But what about
if somebody goes, "God damn, hell no," you're going to be like, "Oh, what? Everybody hates me."
Yeah.
It's a bunch of fucking pussies.
But you know what? I think this social media culture, this internet culture, where people have this ability to sit behind a screen,
right,
punching buttons, that it is by nature a fearful culture.
Right.
Right. What is the fear? The fear is this lack of anonymity. You're going to be out there, right? Everything you say, everything you do is going to be out there. You can't hide behind this screen and buttons.
Let me ask you this question: have you seen any videos of that individual that looks like Jabba the Hutt?
Which one?
The one, he knows what I'm talking about. The one who's just, I mean, in zero way attractive in any way. Looks like Princess Fiona after dark. Fuck Jabba the Hutt.
Wait. Is that the one on that Whatever podcast?
Yes.
It's the one on the Whatever podcast where the one girl introduces herself. She's 23, goes to
yeah, and then
college.
the one goes to her and she's like, "I am Optimus Prime." That one.
My God.
Yes, that one.
Well,
that person.
you know what?
Has no fear.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is what I believe happened, right? I believe this is what happens to a lot of people. They live behind this mask, right, of the internet. They spent so much time, doing this on the internet,
right?
And because they had been able to get away from these face-to-face confrontations, this false sense of self developed, right?
Bro.
And then all of a sudden, that fear went away, right? Fear went away, and then you come out in this state that behind the cover of the screen and buttons, it was eventually accepted by other liars, right. And then all of a sudden the fear was gone, and then it came out. So the point is, there is a healthy fear. They say
right. This person has none. Has no healthy fear.
Right.
No unhealthy fear. That person is been bamboozled long enough to think that they can wear bathing suits. And do whatever it is.
We're fat shaming.
Without, no, we're not.
That's horrible.
I never said one thing about the fact that she is massive, other than she looks like Jabba the Hutt.
Dude, there's fat in her forehead. That's what.
I am Optimus Prime.
There was this, bro.
We are.
When you've got fat drooping from your forehead, bro, that's next level, bro. That's next level, bro.
When you have an awning over your eyes based on your forehead fat, that's bad.
Look. Just to get a little more serious.
If you can smoke a cigarette in the rain and not get it wet, you have a big fat fold.
Her eyelashes are completely dry,
yes.
right? That awning that she's got on her forehead.
It's much like those rollout ones on an RV.
Dude, they're going to cancel us, bro.
Who gives a shit? We'll start the Doormen
plus size
part 2.
Victoria's Secret models are going to just
You know what that means? They're listening. So good. Cancel us.
Oh, shit. Hey.
Wait, real quick. Did you see the latest one where she was on a dating one where the dude was blindfolded?
No.
So the dude was blindfolded, and she's like, "I'm not your average 10." but I like to have fun. And then the guy takes
You're
his
a 10
blindfold off and he
cube,
goes,
bro.
"Oh fuck no!" Got up and walked away.
Oh, shit.
Now
That's fucked up.
that is a healthy level of acceptance on rejection.
Right.
You have to know that when that guy pulls his blindfold off, he's not going to be like, "Oh God, will you marry me?"
Look, just to make a serious point, right? Serious point, right? The Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, right? Fear of the Lord. When you think of things like the fear of the Lord, and you think of things like wisdom, right? What are one of the 7 deadly sins? Gluttony, right? So to delve into gluttony is having zero fear of the Lord. This human being is the face of gluttony. Right. She has had far too many calories. Right.
I was going to say Twinkies, but you just calories in general.
We're trying to
correct.
Be more mature. Twinkies, calories. Right. So
she was not afraid at a young age to ask for a donut.
Zero fear of the Lord. Zero wisdom in her behaviors leading up to this drooping fat on the forehead. Right. I mean, seriously. Right? I mean, so when you come out of your cave, hiding place of...
Why gotta be a cave?
Shit, she looked like she came out of a cave.
Yeah, she came out of the cage.
No, bro. Anyway, when you come out...
He came out of the wildlife reserve.
Having zero fear of the Lord, right? A healthy fear, right? Not adhering to... what these 7 deadly sins are, and then you come out and express yourself in that way, and you're just getting criticism after criticism,
right?
Ridicule. You're getting it every which way, right?
Yeah. I
mean, again, that's just an example of having a lack of good fear.
You kind of feel bad for Optimus Prime, though.
Yeah. That meme fucked up Optimus.
Yeah.
Voice.
I meant the actual Optimus Prime, not the person.
Because I'm saying the
as
voice.
soon as they put that voice to that,
right?
That's what I'm seeing. You ruin the leader of the Autobots.
Whenever we see Transformers, another Transformers movie,
that's all I see.
That's all I'm going to see.
Is that wildebeest walking around?
Right, fat forehead,
Bumblebee's visor built in.
Horrible, dude. Horrible. It's an awning, bro. It's like, like you got a house and then you've got this like awning thing. That's what that.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like, bro. I mean,
it's pretty bad.
No real way. It's
for all those out there.
Your eyes are shaded.
Google it. Google big girl with no shame.
Google Optimus Prime.
And that person will come up.
Human Optimus Prime?
I am Optimus Prime.
I am Optimus Prime.
Yeah, well.
Anyway. So we kind of wanted a serious discussion on fear, but we went down rabbit holes and chutes and ladders.
Why does it always have to be all serious?
I mean, we don't have to be always serious.
It needs to.
You
need to break up the monotony.
We want to drive certain
of the serious part of the conversation with laughter.
Right. We want to drive certain serious points, and these points are to potentially help people.
I think.
But now we just seem like 2 assholes.
Well, if people aren't on board with that,
we just seem like 2 assholes
from our previous episodes.
Right.
Then welcome to it.
Welcome to. Okay. Hey guys, I don't know if you understand. We were doormen,
right,
for years.
This is mild compared to what we used to talk about. And I told you in the beginning, if it offends you, grow up.
Grow up. Yeah, we definitely have this desensitized POV. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
Not that we've seen everything,
but there's a bit of empathy in us.
More you than me.
Yeah. I mean, working with special ed kids for 22 years, you develop some level of empathy for people, less fortunate people.
Right.
And I try to not exude empathy, because that would be stupid, right? But exude some compassion.
Sure.
For
Well, you'd be a liberal if you did that.
For less fortunate people, right?
Right.
And then even in our topic today, even in our talk today, right? The less fortunate people are those who live in fear.
Yeah.
Right? The less fortunate people have reacted to everything that social media has thrown at them. Every bit of the fear mongering.
Oh, speaking of social media fear,
What's that?
you know when we were going to have that hurricane here?
Sure.
So never in the history of California has a hurricane hit California. Right. Never. We don't have the weather for it. We don't have the temperatures for it. We're not built for hurricanes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Earthquakes. Yes.
Earthquakes. Oh yeah.
Hurricanes.
But there was somebody posted on TikTok, and I know an individual that saw this post and literally went and bought hurricane kits and water and all this shit for the hurricane to hit California and shut it down.
I'd seen a business, and I'm not going to say I'm not, because we still are patrons of this business. But there was a business in Torrance that bought sandbags.
I don't understand
to place in front of their storefront, and I thought, you know how far we are from any body of water.
So you've been to the exterior of my apartment.
Sure.
And you've also been to the beach.
Right.
You know, living on 4th Street, there's 4th Street and then those apartments, and then about, I don't know, 75 steps down to the sand before you have to go about 200 yards to the water.
Sure.
There are people on 4th Street that were, again, with the sandbags and, blocking the gutters and all this shit. And I thought, are you guys fucking stupid? Do you know how much it would have to rain for 15 years straight for water to get from the ocean on the 4th?
Well, tsunamis.
Again, even that. I mean,
I'm pretty
my
sure
apartment would probably get pretty trashed in a tsunami.
Yeah, in a tsunami.
But
Absolutely.
people don't understand, with a common level of not having fear, Catalina is a natural land break. Tsunami, Catalina's fucked. Everybody's on Catalina's dead.
Absolutely.
It's going to knock the wave down. It's going to get high tides. I mean, we'll probably feel some water. But a tsunami, it'd have to be 300 feet tall. Come on.
I wouldn't put anything past the weather, right? But I will say we've never had any type of hurricane or anything that resembled a hurricane in my lifetime.
No, and it'll never happen.
I'm just I'm just not about this fear mongering, right? I'm not about, but it seems that every chance
certain
that
people,
the internet has,
live for it.
Yeah.
The news,
Yeah.
social media.
I mean, think about the people who sit behind their computer day in and day out. Right. And don't live in real life. Don't necessarily go out of their homes. Right. To come face to face with people or to experience new things. Right. I mean, that's the fear culture. I think we're living in that era. This is Fear 23.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what are we going to do about it? What we do about it, the lives that we live. I'm pretty sure. As a matter of fact, Steven has announced he'll be starting a new job. Right. So you talk about someone who's not scared to get new jobs or to go out and look for new things or to go out and experience new happenings, right? New routines. You just have to be ready, right? You just have to understand what we've been given, what we've been blessed with in this existence, what the human resilience. I think that once you grasp all these things, then that kind of unhealthy fear that everyone seems to be expressing today. Right. Everyone seems to be so comfortable living in. I won't say it'll go away, but it'll be a lot less of it.
Right. Well, if you live in fear, and as Wyatt Earp says in Tombstone, if you call down the thunder, it's coming, and hell's coming with me, right? That's what they say.
Shout out to Wyatt
Don't be
Earp.
scared.
Don't be scared. You know.
Fucking baby.
And I think with that, I think we drove our point home.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wyatt Earp is
Wyatt
done as
Earp,
well.
Tombstone,
Hey, and with that,
Kurt Russell.
we're out.
We gone.